Hi everyone and welcome back to Let's Build. This is number 17 and this is a series of tutorials using the Neverwinter Nights 2 toolset. So we're back in our exterior area, and as you can see once again off camera I have continued with some texturing and some further placeable detail to run you through some of those changes. We have the non-walkable areas that we need. I've just put these sort of cheap, simple little fences across just to cut down some of the unnecessary bits of area that we have. There's plenty to see in the streets and things. I don't particularly need the player in this game wandering around every nook and corner, as I discussed in the last video. Just some random pieces of stuff lying around. So yeah, the old box, wagons and that. I'll continue to add more as I find time. So got washing lines, such fishing tackle, things you might find outside. So for the horses there, more boxes, got some hanging signs for some of the buildings. Again, just more stuff flying around the street. So that was that for there. And then obviously we've got the area past the inn here. You can see that the path has been textured now with the two with the cobble and then sort of the dirt to mix into it, so the path looks a bit old now. More signs outside the inn there. Also got a few lighting posts and things added, not entirely, but they're all some of them are in. Got some seating areas overlooking the nice view now. So yeah, here's the fronts of the houses put up. I think we had this in last time. We'll probably have some sort of a merchant just here. Then this little corner here has had a bit of work done. So on this sort of raised walkway, we have it just sort of fenced off slightly, and then we've got a few little bits and pieces put down in this little corner here. So just improving it up really, and then yeah, we'll probably have another merchant around here. So I've managed to sort of build a stall into this little nook here, which you often find with placeables. It's just a case of looking for opportunities of where to get them down. So be opportunistic as well as trying to get out there, because they often tend to be the best result in the end. That's our blacksmith still here. So again, we've got various bits and pieces lying around. We'll work out the full details for the lighthouse later on, but there it is. Haven't really done anything over there for now. And then obviously we've still got the little journey down the side onto the shore. I didn't really touch anything on the shoreline because said it's been detailed a fair bit already, but I may add more in future. So that's where we're at. And in this video we're going to first look at colour tinting on top of the textures that have already been placed. And what you should find is we should get some very nice effects and finishes to some of the surfaces. So for example, at the moment our cliff sides in general look a bit like this. As you can see, there's 2 or 3 textures blended together in that. We've got our plain rocky texture, and then we've got some dirt and even a very, very slight shade of the sand, which is also a dirt texture, but the 3 textures kind of merged together in here. So you can see on the more slopey pieces, the more exposed pieces pointing upwards, I've put the lighter textures, and then sort of the darker dirt I sort of splattered into place. But with the aid of colour, what we can do is like if you can make it out by looking at the video, there's like a crevice running down here, and what we can do is we can darken that in view of the fact it probably gets a bit less light and such. So that's what we're going to do. Now that's how that looks now. Now what I've done with this part of it is actually coloured already in the sort of colour I'm going to use to give you a bit of a rough idea of how it might look for the finish. So it's a bit darker, looking a bit more of a slate like colour to it. So we've got that. So we're going to try and turn this into something a bit like this, though it does require a little bit of final detailing. And we can do this with other areas. For example, the cobble, I want to try and age this cobblestone a bit more, get it looking a bit old. Obviously the cracking and that is good already, but it just seems a bit too shiny for my liking. So we're going to try and get that aged a bit more. As with the grass as well, and the edgings, we're going to give that a bit of a tinting as well. So that's the plan, and then after that we can look at a few other finishing touches and things one can add to an area. So then for colour, we'll hit the terrain tab and terrain again on the environment tools, and we're going to click on colour. And as usual, you have your brush options, as you can see there, and pressure. And pressure, a bit like with texturing, determines how strongly that colour will appear. Though they're not in, they don't exactly work entirely the same way, but I will discuss that. So first off, I do actually want to try and work out what colour it was that I used in this area here. I think it was a very, very dark bluish grey, I think. So let's see if we can find that. So you click on to select your colour. Let me go back. So with colour selected, you just click on the colour bar at the bottom and select what you want. Now I believe I went with this light cyan blue, and then I went into this sort of colour here. So it's some slate. It has a sort of a midnightish sort of blue, or a bluish grey kind of look to it. So we're going to go with that. And now the pressure, and I recommend when colouring, unless you really want to just paint a nice strong colour across the ground, is to drop it to about 10%. Keep it very low, because once you start clicking down, the colour can come on quite strong very quickly, and you may not want that, especially if you're just going for a light dusting of a tint. So what we'll do is we'll start on this piece here, and I'm just going to click once, and we'll see if we notice anything there. You see it darken a bit there. So the way I'm going to approach this, rather than just holding my finger down, I'm just going to click rapidly whilst moving. And as you can see, the texture's still there, but what's happened is I've darkened that texture with this tint. That's all I'm doing. If I feel like I've missed any little pieces, I can always go small and just splatter that in there. So, you know, you're not texturing here, we're just adding shades, I suppose is one way to describe it. And yeah, that's kind of the same colour as that. So that's all it was. And then we can do that to the cliff front along here as well. And because I've already put 3 different textures on there, their individual brightness and darkness already is taken into account. And obviously these deeper pieces I really want to colour more strongly. So I am clicking a little bit more in these sort of crevices here, as you can see there, where it goes inward a bit. And then not so much on these parts that stick out like that. So I'm going to kind of just give them a very light piece. And then in this little crevice here, again, very dark, probably inside here, like that. It's very quick and easy to do. And so if you're ever unhappy with the colour, so let's say here I'm going to make a mistake now. I'm going to hold my finger down. And I'll show you how rapidly the colour can take to effect now. I'm just going to hold my finger down. As you can see, right, it's like it's been burnt or something. So yeah, what a mess. What have I done there? So now I just get my colour option, go to white, okay, and then hold down, and there we go. It's all gone. So with colour, I mean, I'd say more so than with textures, you can very quickly correct your problems. You just change your colour to white, and nothing to worry about. Now I really should have made a note of the hex number for my colour. That's something important to do. It is retrieving colours that you've used when colouring areas. It can be quite difficult. So it was round about here, wasn't it? So it's always worth, once you've found your colour, and if it's not possible to keep a sort of an on-screen note of it, which in this case I don't, just write down that hex number there. So on this one we have 2B 333B. So say I lost that, we're still white or whatever. All you do, you go back to your screen and replace the hex value with what you had there. So we go with 2B 333B. Okay, and it finds the colour and you're good to go. So certainly when you're doing that, and even with other things like creating items or tinting placeables, that kind of thing, and for whatever reason, you know, you're not ready to save, you can't save it as a set, or for whatever reason, your best friend is a notebook, a pencil, and just write your colours down. And that way, say if you're creating sets of items or groups of placeables and you want a particular colour theme across those, that's a nice quick and easy way of getting some consistency in your colours and things like that. So then, I think I've got a bit of a cold coming on. Right, not good. And we'll just continue to colour in this area. A darker piece just there, and just there. So you just got to kind of picture where's the sun, you know, what's going to catch most of the sun. The bits that are going to catch the least of the sun are where you're going to want to make the shades a bit darker. Now, of course, the player can only see so much of this this piece here, because as you can see, if I put the mesh on now, this hatched grid is as far as they're going to go. So the player cannot walk beyond this white line anyway, but clearly they will be able to look over the edge here, and probably with a bit of camera positioning, or even if you were to use cutscenes in your module or anything like that, there's always the chance that this might be seen. And also, like I said before, I do like to just complete the picture, if that makes sense, in general. In terms of texturing and stuff in the border areas, I will just try and do the full job. Like I said, I can see it. But that's obviously entirely up to you and the scope of what you're doing. No one can tell you how to do anything, including me. You decide how far you're going to go. So I'm quite happy with this colour scheme as well. It seems to be doing the business. As I said, it's going to be quite a bright area in terms of the weather. I don't intend for it to rain, anything like that. So I just want it to look like it's a warm place. So I needed something to offset the brightness. Because if I turn the bloom on now for daytime, show that again. Bloom off, but yeah, bloom on, and it just get a bit brighter. So we did something like the sun looks like it's glowing from it. To turn the bloom off, you can see the sun, and even the road as well. But this just kind of offsets it a little bit. Anyway, I'm going to turn bloom off just for the minute because I don't need it right now. And we can talk more about bloom when we get to a more detailed look at your settings and things like that. So this side of the cliff is nearly done. We've got sand on the bottom, but that's fine. I'm just going to paint over it for now. We're nearly there for this piece. Let's get the top done. Just a little bit of that. Okay, that's come out rather nicely. I think looking from the side there. Good. So that's all the colouring really involves. So I'm going to complete the colouring of this cliffside now, and other areas of the same sort of rock, and then we will pick up the video and continue from there, so bear with me. Welcome back everyone, and as you can see the texture has now been applied, the texture, the colour rather, has been applied to the cliff based texture in the area now. So you can see we have nice variation in the strength of the colour on the sort of the more sheer elevations that are out of the sunlight. And hopefully they will look really good once we're in area. Now the next thing I want to do is to give an aged colour look to this cobble now, and I was thinking we're going with a slight, very slight sort of bronzy brown sort of colour. I don't know if this could be the right or wrong choice, but we're about to find out. So I'm going to go even a slightly orange, slight orange could even do it. So we'll see what we can find here. Don't particularly want it to be dark, so we can go with the lighter sort of looks here. It's always a difficult thing for me. This is right. Let's try that one there. Again, we're on 10% pressure. I don't want too much pressure down, and we'll just pin that down there. Good, I can click it quite a few times there, and it's that's perfect actually. That's a nice weathered look to the floor, and we can always come back and maybe darken that in places if we want to. So I'm just going to move along the road now, just clicking this down. So around things like benches or maybe even fences, we could put a more darker shade down. But we'll come back to those momentarily. Just want to get this down to start with. As you can see so far, colouring is probably the easiest thing we've done so far. I am going to shrink the brush here though, because I don't want to inadvertently start painting this onto the elevations. So it's all on the path up to the lighthouse, and that. Still some work to do on this bit here. See, the path's it looks a bit funny at the minute. Probably just going to need to narrow it up a bit more and just find a few pieces just to put in the way. But we can worry about that later. So we're getting all that in there. And what we'll do once this texture is in place, we may load up the game and just see how the area looks overall, what sort of a feel we're getting for it right now. That's there. We'll just chase the road down this way. And pretty soon we'll be able to probably move away from exterior areas and get on with some new bits and pieces, hopefully revolving more around starting to put some more interactable content together. So look at conversations using our NPC we made way back, but we can look at conversation setup on that, and other things that might involve, like so creating equipment, that kind of thing. It would be nice to actually get a little bit of playable content together for this, just to demonstrate and show all this all together with everything we've done. I think that would be a good idea. And then as we start getting into content, we could open up new topics which people have been asking for. So things like some sort of basic scripting, which I'll probably have to mix with requests, because there's so much on scripting that I'm not entirely sure what is useful to people and what won't be. So by all means, throw me some bones in that department if there's something that you'd like to see, and as long as I know how to do it, I will look at showing one way or another. Alright, we're nearly there with this now. Now for this, because it's the texture's not coming down so heavily, I am actually just holding my finger down with this one, because it's some more. I think that the lighter the colour that you're trying to put down, I think the less aggressively it applies. But if say this was black, I would be clicking very carefully where I wanted it to go, because it has a habit to run out of control and very, very quickly just turn to a big black splotch on the ground, which is in many occasions I doubt that's what you want. I'm going to go for full size medium brush now. Let's get this down. But I suppose in total this area's not actually taken too long to make. Obviously there's been quite a few videos covering it, and I've done a lot off camera. But I probably could have made this quite a bit faster. One, I'm a bit slower when I'm talking and working at the same time, but it's kind of been sitting half complete at various stages of completeness anyway in my tool set for a while, but could absolutely have been done a bit faster if need be. But I hope a lot of this has demonstrated that when you compare the Neverwinter Nights 1 toolset and this toolset for Neverwinter Nights 2, there are various similarities. I mean, as ever with any toolset, the more time you put into something, the better the outcome. You know, if you want high detail, then you still need to invest that time. Yet it's still possible, with both tool sets, if you could spend a quarter of an hour making an exterior area, you wanted something nice, quick and easy, you weren't really going for the fine detail, you can have that, absolutely have that. Nothing to stop you from doing that. I could have just forgot the elevation, so I just want, a small area, some buildings. Right, here's some buildings, 1, 2, 3, 4, here's a road, paint a road with a texture, and then put some trees, some grass down, and done. And that's it. It's so it can be done. But like I said, if you're going for the big finish and the quality, therefore you need more time. So I remember Neverwinter Nights 1 making very detailed areas in that, and they did take me quite a considerable amount of time to do. Talking a few days, decent days work on that. So could be looking at 8 hours or more. And after Neverwinter Nights 2, yeah, that has increased, but with Neverwinter Nights 2, you remember that there are more options than what you had in Neverwinter Nights 1. While that was everything was tile based. It's free form. You have to mould everything for an exterior on this, and of course that's going to cost. But there's no reason why you couldn't create an exterior simply in the style of Neverwinter Nights 1. So just paint a block elevation, paint a little ramp up it. You could actually just do that. Design Neverwinter 2 areas just the way the Neverwinter 1 ones appeared, just sort of blocky tile-like format if you want to. But no, I much prefer this for exterior creation because it's just the immersion factor for me. I can get immersed into an area that it looks believable and real, and less you get this feeling that you're playing on a tile set when you play Neverwinter 1. I just have this. When walking around it, right, so there's elevation tile, there's going to be a ramp tile somewhere, this is a bit more believable, I find, which is what I like. So, road has been tinted, cliffs have been tinted. I would like to do something with the grass, but what we're going to do right now is we will load up the game. So I'm going to run an area bake, as before, that is Control Shift B and yes. And then once it's done baking, we'll look at the I'll quickly look at the mesh and make sure it is correct, so I'm not going to have any problems playing it. And then we'll load up and have a wander around the this seaside destination, see what we think of it. So bear with me and I will see you in game. Okay, here we are in game. Had a bit of a problem there getting Movavi to actually record gameplay footage. This was the first time, so I've had to change the game down to windowed mode to get it working. Maybe I can get it into full screen at some point in the future, but for now this is perfectly fine just for what we need here. So as you can see, we've got our coloured tinted path down, and the hills have been looking very good at the minute, just how we want them. I've got a bit of a view over the cliff here, and as you can see we have the sea far down below, but the colouring of the cliffside is looking very nice. And of course we can pull up the area map, and you can see we are just here in the corner, and we've got a nice clear picture of where everything is in this area. So we'll take a quick wander around. So we've got some of the placeables down already. More will be gradually added in. It's sort of a thing I'll just do as and when I feel like doing it. So lots of the streets and that run down that way. And here we have the entrance to the inn, so that's one way up, just over here. I know the mesh can be a bit funny with this building, but I will see what we can do. Oh, yeah, it's a bit strange. But yeah, that will be one way in. Under the inn here, so we've got the entrance here. Again, all to be transitioned up still, but the inn is coming along very well. And straight away we should have a really nice view as we come down here. Yeah, very nice. So we've got some of the benches lying around there, which we can allow the player to sit down there if we need to, or other passers-by. The beach is looking alright. Got a little stall here. I think the pathways and that need a bit more detail. Obviously we can get things like grass and bits of plant life down. So I'd say we're looking pretty good at the moment. So we can head down to the beach area now. Camera jumped a bit there. Go on, here we go. So it's all looking pretty good. We get some sort of dune-like items perhaps at the back of the area here. We'll take a little run up this area here. A bit of work to do, so I'm getting the texture smoothed out a bit there, and path where it's running over changed a bit. We have some merchants and things in here. You can see how the sun is also sort of shining down on this side, so we've got a nice dark and sort of shadow effect on this side, which is very nice. But yes, certainly it's taking excellent shape. We'll see the lighthouse in the distance over there. So certainly plenty more work to be done, but it's nice once you start getting the textures and the tints down and that, it really does start to bring things to life. So that's our quick little wander around the area, and in the next video we can look at I think some grass placement. We could look at getting the mesh finalised. And any other little things that we want to throw in, so perhaps some trees, a few trees that we're going to need, but we can get things like trees down, and you know, show some of the final stages of finishing up an area. I mean, as I said, this area will continue to be updated and have little details added to it, but it would be a nice way of just rounding off these exterior area creation videos with just some of the final steps, and then we can move on to some other topics. So I'll end the video here, and we should pick up another one very shortly. Thank you very much for watching.